It was a Tuesday morning, the kind that slips in quietly under a blanket of gray skies and gentle drizzle. The sort of day that makes you want to curl up with a warm cup of tea and a good book, forgetting the world exists beyond your window. I was 52, living alone in a quaint little house on Maplewood Lane. It was the kind of neighborhood where people nodded at each other over fences and shared casual pleasantries, but rarely anything more meaningful. Everyone knew of each other, but no one truly knew anyone. It had its charm, but over time, the charm wore thin, leaving behind something quieter and lonelier. That morning, I was seated at my kitchen table, sipping chamomile tea and gazing out at my rain-soaked garden. My hydrangeas were in full bloom, their blue petals heavy with water. The old oak in my backyard swayed gently in the breeze. It was peaceful, still, but that kind of stillness that can start to echo when there's no one to share it with. My thoughts drifted, as they often did, until a soft knock at the front door pulled me back to the present. I wasn't expecting anyone. My son David lived in the city, busy with work and his own life, and my friends were tied up in their routines. Curious, I set my cup down and opened the door. Standing there was my neighbor, Mr. Thompson. Or Henry, as I would soon come to know him. He lived 2 doors down, a tall man in his late 60s with silver hair and kind eyes. Over the years, we had exchanged the occasional wave or polite greeting, but nothing more. That morning, he stood on my porch holding a small, neatly wrapped package and wearing an expression that was a mix of nervousness and hope. "Good morning, Linda," he said, his voice warm but uncertain. "I hope I'm not interrupting anything." "Not at all," I said with a smile. "Is everything okay?" "Please, call me Henry," he replied, returning the smile. "I noticed you've been spending a lot of time in your garden. You've got quite the green thumb." I chuckled. "It keeps me sane," I admitted. "There's something calming about tending to the earth." He nodded thoughtfully and extended the package. "I saw this at the farmer's market over the weekend and thought of you. It's not much, just something small to brighten your day." I was stunned. No one had done something like that for me in years. I took the package gently, the simple weight of it somehow heavier with meaning. "Thank you, Henry. That's very thoughtful." He smiled again, a little shy this time. "Well, I'll let you get back to your morning. Have a good day, Linda." "You too," I said as he turned and walked back down the path. Once inside, I opened the package to find a beautiful ceramic planter, hand-painted with delicate vines and flowers, exactly the kind of thing I would have chosen for myself. My fingers traced the smooth edges as a quiet wave of gratitude passed through me. Later that afternoon, I planted a small fern in the pot and set it on my porch. I found myself glancing down the street toward Henry's house, wondering about the man who had taken the time to notice me. That evening, I baked a batch of oatmeal cookies, my grandmother's recipe, and walked them over to his house. When he answered the door, his face lit up. "For me?" he asked, surprised. "To thank you for the lovely planter," I said, holding out the plate. He stepped aside and offered, "Would you like to come in for a cup of coffee?" I paused, then nodded. "I'd like that." Inside, his home was warm and inviting. Books lined the shelves, a fire glowed in the hearth. We sat at his kitchen table, sipping coffee and talking like old friends. We spoke of gardening, travel, books, and slowly, our lives. I had forgotten how effortless a good conversation could feel. That visit turned into more. Morning chats over coffee. Walks around the neighborhood. Even shared moments in each other's gardens, laughing over weeds and admiring blooms. The simple act of kindness from a neighbor had opened the door to something I hadn't realized I was craving: companionship. Connection. Henry began helping me with my garden, and I with his. We traded cuttings, tips, and stories. One afternoon, he told me about his late wife, Margaret, how much he had loved her, and how quiet the house had become since she passed. His voice cracked slightly when he spoke, and I saw a glimpse of the pain he carried, the same kind I had tucked away behind chamomile tea and overwatered roses. As the weeks passed, we became each other's constants. It wasn't grand or dramatic, just small, sincere gestures that built something beautiful. We weathered storms, literal and emotional, by each other's side. We found laughter in planting tulips and comfort in shared silence. And somewhere along the way, what started as a knock at the door on a rainy Tuesday became the beginning of a life I hadn't dared imagine.